We're good.
Warming up.
Hello, hello, hello. We're doing our usual tagging, sharing, and other repeated phrases.
Oh, I feel burpy.
Oh, and I have the wrong caption up. Sorry about that.
Oh, no. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
I sent it to the wrong group.
Oh, you sent it to the
Yeah.
game group? Okay.
It's that you see something when you tap them and it scrolls.
yeah.
Kakainis.
I think the worst UI na ganyan is Twitter. When you do Twitter search,
Mm-mm.
and then it'll suggest topics and users. But then parang the users load first. And then as you click the user, suddenly hashtags appear. And then more often than and it happens to me so many times. And every time I do it, I end up like clicking some random trending topic. And it's like,
So
the
someone
worst.
has joined. I can't see who. Please comment so I can see. Okay, this is probably a bot. Checker Sabrina asks if we've ever seen
No,
live animals.
she joins
Oh,
every
she
now and
does?
then.
Okay.
But no, we don't. We've yet to watch live slaughter.
Yeah, I know that is well. Okay, that's going ahead. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait. We'll talk. We'll talk.
We're not yet in the episode proper.
Yeah, but for a moment, I thought that was a weird triggered statement. Because we've had, hey Rehan, we've had weird posts from bots before. We're in
Yeah, they
It's-
related to the topic, but it's super like
out
left
of nowhere,
field. Yeah,
and that's what it felt like. Lana, parang, huh? Okay.
Yeah, because we
My
haven't
apologies. My
we haven't
apologies.
talked about anything yet.
My
so
mistake.
We're getting there.
I'm also a bit weirded out by our camera. It's a bit oddly positioned, but that's because it's just a few feet away from. Look at that baby.
It's a big baby. You just want an excuse to lift the camera.
Yes. Yeah, but I guess we can start in wait. We have to fulfill our requirements.
Might as well grab your. Oh, I was about to say grab the vitamins. Okay, never mind. We just. Why do we talk? Why do we use words?
Why words?
Yeah, this is like it's a
Multivitamin.
Hey, Immunocore. It's just like everybody else in this pandemic. We're trying to do things that will help. You know, I don't know, keep COVID away.
All right. Yeah, I don't have my timer.
We're super ready.
I did not eat my chips during the game.
You know what? You also haven't eaten all weekend.
What?
Cake.
I haven't touched the cake. I haven't touched the egg pie.
Oh yeah, I saw you bought egg pie.
Oh no, that's gonna go bad now. I have to eat both after the show.
Punishment carbs.
Sorry, fasting, but we will have to do you later.
Well, I'm fasting already.
Okay, let's start the show.
All right, we'll start.
We'll be right back after this intro.
Oh yeah! Really great!
Hello. This is Toby.
Why are you RuPaul?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Hello. This is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride. Wait, did I say that right?
Yes, yeah. Like more or
Welcome to
less.
Baduy Pride. Our little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It's completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us. We talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. It's a Sunday, which means it's usually either check-in episodes.
Or lighter topics.
Yes, and
That we totally didn't prep for.
and tonight it's definitely a lighter topic that was requested.
Yeah, so
Coming in as a request from Kenny.
to be fair, this request has been in the queue for a while, and I think it's like it started from that period where they like to make fun of every time we talk about domestic stuff,
Mhm.
and the things that we are happy to talk about are like uh, the most mundane things. And yeah, so I guess today we're talking about grocery shopping as requested by Kenny.
So quick hellos to people who have already joined the stream. We have Jay, we have Sabrina,
Checker Sabrina. Yeah, I'm not
and
sure who this person is in real life.
and we have Rahan. So thank you for joining the show. If there are others who are in the stream, just so you know, we can see the numbers are higher, but we can't tell who you are until you comment. So please comment. In this show, we do try to incorporate comments as much as possible.
Yeah, it's a conversation, but at the same time, hey, we're not past asking you to like this video, share it with friends, and get more
Subscribe.
people to watch with us. Nope, we're losing viewers. Okay, so let's talk about grocery shopping. I don't minor thing. It's funny how I've never necessarily felt bad about going to the grocery, and I know there are people who aren't into it,
Mhm.
like who just see it as a chore that you have to get through. But honestly, except for checkout, like I've always enjoyed going to the grocery. I don't know. And more so when it was my own grocery and not just accompanying my
Yeah,
parents.
I think that's it. I think grocery only becomes more fun and fulfilling when you're doing it for you.
Mm.
I mean, I remember going to the grocery was fun when I was younger because it was a chance to slip in stuff onto the cart that I wanted that I couldn't afford for myself. But then mostly it was when will this end? Because, you know, they're too busy looking for what they want. They're too busy choosing from what for me back then was they're all chicken. Just grab a chicken. But then as you do it for yourself, then it becomes ooh, I can create this with this, or I want to create this. Maybe I can find it. And then with that personal stake, it does make it more fun to buy that steak.
You went there. Wow. Okay. We're not even 10 minutes in and there was already a really bad pun. Okay, so, and to be fair, I mean, like, I feel like your enjoyment of grocery shopping levels up when you know how to cook.
Mhm.
But even if you don't know how to cook and you're at least purchasing for your own household, then it's still fairly fulfilling.
Yes.
And then I think I hope that more people um, learn to enjoy it and
Mhm.
learn to find fun in it because it can be quite fun. Okay.
Thank you, Rehan. So I think we can't talk about grocery shopping without talking about buying in the wet market. Namamalengke.
Okay. Yeah.
Because one, I feel that's a cultural difference. Uh, for other countries, it's just the same thing. It's still just getting groceries.
Mhm.
It's just a question of if you got it in the farmer's market
Hey, Andre. No
or in the
worries.
supermarket. And then for others, it's it feels like a totally different experience because one has a lot of haggling and navigating, and the other one is more like going through the aisles and being the first one to grab it before others do.
Hmm.
So um, I used to really hate supermarket. Sorry, I used to hate going to the wet market
Okay.
compared to going to the supermarket because I didn't like getting my feet wet.
Literally wet at the wet.
Yeah,
market.
and it was some wet markets they chopped off the pig and stuff and then water sprays and it's like all over and you're gonna walk there and I was freaked out. The smells were also very distinct and they would always make me feel weird about it, which connecting now to the statement of
Yeah,
Sabrina.
animals being butchered.
So have you ever seen live animals being butchered in markets? I've actually only experienced that in the province.
I haven't seen an animal being killed,
Mhm.
but I've seen like when you have the whole pig hanging and then they're
Hacking
like
away
breaking
at
it down.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. That I've seen.
What I've seen in the province did have livestock that were being processed, dressed. I don't know what's the proper term. Which was very disturbing, admittedly.
Hey, Mitch.
But I would like to think it was still done humanely because it was a quick tack and it's done, and it's now the prep work. It wasn't like there was a lot of suffering involved.
Ooh. Minor tangential, and then I'll talk about my wet
Mhm.
market experience. That we used to have fish vendors who would go around the village,
Mhm.
And then, well, not really village because when I grew up, we weren't in a gated community. So there was a guy on a bike who normally had 2 to 3 containers of
Mhm.
like random seafood. Like sometimes it'd be shrimp, sometimes yeah. And then when he'd bring catfish, hito, they're alive
Mhm.
in his little bucket.
Mhm.
And part of the process of when you buy it is that he will kill it for you and
Mhm.
dress it on the street.
Mhm.
It was literally right in front of my grandma's house, and you'd see him slap it with the flat of his knife
Mhm. To stun it first.
to stun
Yeah.
it, but then proceeds to start cutting it apart. And
Mhm.
then it's still like wriggling it. Like, oh my god.
Because supposedly hito is much better, much fresher,
Yes.
and there's always that there are those mindsets of certain toxins do appear the moment something dies, and you
Mm-mm.
have to make sure it's clean very early. Um,
Yeah, and then I think for us naman, well, going to the wet market meant going to Nepaque Mart, okay,
mhm.
which is a really big market.
Mhm.
And so it wasn't like a casual thing. And it was always, my grandma would always have us like tell us to wear shoes and pants.
Mhm.
It was a funny thing, no? But you have to be fully covered up.
Para hindi ka matatalsikan.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah. And then Nepak Humor pa naman. It's because it's so big and cavernous, then it gets quite dark and your light is only really the fluorescent lights of the individual stalls. And it's like a maze. And I don't know how my grandma or yes, syempre may mga suki na siya. So she would know exactly where to go for eggs versus vegetables versus meat. And it could be really like we'd be winding in and out. It's sort of like it's parang malinis pa yung farmers market.
Mhm.
But we used to shop at farmers when we were in Cubao. Ito talaga, it's like super deep into.
Claustrophobic feels.
And then it always felt like I would joke that was this that the floor is like a fruit salad or something. Kasi parang there's like all this gulay na discards the refuse and bits cut off.
Mhm.
But it wasn't a bad experience because we'd always like bring something home. Like that's why I first tried okoy. But my grandma's stance on street food was that what's this? Anything we bought we wouldn't eat there. We
Mhm.
would go home and then she would refry the okoy
Yes,
in new oil. Parang ganon, para it's cleaner.
I get that.
But that's how I first tried okoy and then even like fish balls and ganyan. And we would bring stuff home.
So Andre shares my ideology: marketplace for perishable goods, supermarket for other necessities and utilities. I get that. I get that mindset.
And it's cheaper.
Yes.
It's cheaper, it's fresher. Um, but then, admittedly, okay, and then like sometimes supermarkets look and make food look very pretty though.
Mhm.
And then I think that was our early experience with SM, like SM Cubao versus like the market. Minsan the gulay looks super
So
pretty.
so me, it was a matter of supermarket for meats, but wet market for seafood.
Yeah.
Because I felt the wet markets were getting seafood from the ports, so they kind of were fresher.
Sige.
But when it came to meats, which you know were definitely um, butchered and cleaned earlier, both of them are suspect. But at least the supermarkets try to package it cleaner. So that was my mindset to that.
Oh, before grandma we would go to separately to Monterey
Mhm.
when there were individual Monterey meat stands, like not the ones in the grocery, but my Monterey meat shops on
Mhm.
their own, and then we would get meat there. And so it was this weird, like we would go. It was very specialized, and go here, go there, go there, go there. But I had no qualms about shopping for everything in the
Mhm.
grocery. Like when I started grocery shopping for myself, and if there's well, it depends on where you live. If there's no accessible market,
Mhm.
then you won't really market. Then you'll just go wherever. It's like here, like in BGC. Technically, there's a market at you could go to market,
Mhm.
and then there's a wet market area outside. Although it's still cleaner than most wet markets,
Mhm.
but parang there's a convenience to just going to the grocery and not thinking about it.
And then there was, of course, there's the options for fruits, for vegetables. That was always divided because some supermarkets had really sad fruits and vegetables.
Depending on the time you go, like SM, pag closing,
Mhm.
evening when you grocery shopping in the evening at SM, the veggies look terrible.
Yeah.
The veggies are very sad.
And then sa supermarket naman, there was that interesting, you never shop sa palengke alone.
Mm-mm.
So like when you choose fruits, they'll help you, di ba? Yan, ito, matamis na to. And then sabi, cut it open pa yan, tikman mo na. And I like that. Kasi in the supermarket, it was
Oo, it's
sobrang
like-
good luck. Find out na lang when you bring it home.
And we really had cases where it looks pretty, and then parang when you open it up, there's a side you didn't see na
Mhm.
pangit na. Oh, Mitch shares something funny. Her mom would usually have her come as tagabuhat, and then she'll leave with her suki and go deeper into the market, and babalikan niya ako. That used to happen to us too, especially
Mm.
as kids. Like, we'd be parked at a particular stand. Normally, I don't know why I keep thinking it was the egg stand. Like, we were there at the egg stand with someone, and then she would go in deeper and get other stuff.
So
and then
yours
come
was
back.
eggs, mine was bigas.
I
I would stand-
same stand.
Near all those bigas.
Same stand, because the eggs and the bigas were the same stand.
And then I'd be the boy who'd put my hand in. Of course you would. Because I'd want to see how deep I can go by just squishing my hand like that. And then by the time my mom comes back, the rice is all the way here. And then, Koy, ano na naman yan? And then I'm like staring because they feel different. And I was always annoyed that the malagkit was not sticky.
Because it's dry.
I know.
Okay. Andre says buy a steak, but he's going to say he likes going to Marikina Market because it's nicer and cleaner. And that's nice. We have a nice market near you. Mitch says fruits, Q-Mart. Yeah, diba? Well, my grandma was all gulay and
Mm.
fruit. You could go to Nepa Q-Mart and then she'd buy eggs by the tray.
Yeah, Rehan shares kasi babalikan mag-antay ng matagal. Yeah, that's why the kids would normally stay kasi nga it's faster to shop if the kids just wait.
Yeah, because if not, then you have to watch your kids the whole time. Okay.
And then maraming tanong.
Well, yes. And okay, what I could never, I was at a hard time because although we're all looking at weighing scales at the
Mhm.
market, but then it's like isang guhit ng ganyan, and like, what do you mean? And then, how many grams is that? Yung pala, it's a line. I mean, I didn't know.
The line on the
It
scale.
was the line on the scale. Okay,
Mhm.
okay, because they were at set intervals, and then they went with that. Okay.
So, Black Swana mentions or
Right.
asks, when you shop, are there certain brands you stick to?
I think for certain things, like for non-perishable like dry goods, there are certain brands we've become familiar with.
Mhm.
But at the beginning, I'll admit it was price. Like the olive oil brand we get when we buy olive oil, it really started with ang mahal na mga to, and then why is this one 200 pesos more than
Mhm,
this?
mhm.
I'll just get this.
Mhm.
Parang ganon. So when you don't have anything you go for, it starts that way. But same thing na parang, but there are things like corned beef and ganyan. Like, my family's always gotten pure foods. And then I grew up with pure foods. So I'm going to get pure foods.
I was only selective with hot dogs
Ooh,
because there was a distinct flavor difference between different
that is
hot dog
true.
brands.
I was never into Swift.
But when it came to like bacon and stuff, I never really found a difference.
Mm.
And then with chicken,
Why do you have to always say it that way? Chicken. Chicken.
So one brand, I won't say which, is mostly water. So when you try to check the weight, it feels really hefty. But then when you cook it, parang it's
Tumutuyo
thinner
agad.
than expected.
Okay.
The other brand is not so much water, and that's why we get Bounty Fresh. And we usually, normally people they weigh it pa and stuff. I just base it on the price. When I look at the price and it's at this range, I know that's the weight I want.
But gano'n naman talaga eh. When you're more familiar with, when you're more used to grocery shopping, then you stop looking at weight and you
Mhm.
already kind of guess. And although you'll notice minsan na parang, oh, this chicken seems smaller for the price. And then like, nagbago ba? And then
Yeah.
that's probably the only time you'll notice prices
And
changing.
then ever since we shifted to a keto adjacent meal plan, the brand now has become more prominent because we basically when we look at the macros of certain things, we already know they're in acceptable levels. So I just grab that again when I can.
Yeah, parang when I first shifted to keto, our grocery shopping slowed down muna. Because then I was like looking at all the labels of everything and like, is this bacon? This bacon says it's uncured, but then is it like how much carbs are still in it? And then so we were studying, we kept studying until finally like we came up with a approved list of like we can buy these things, and then it got faster again. Okay.
And
Oh.
then
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Andre asked, does anyone else remember Macro? Of course.
so macro is one of those wholesale places.
membership club
Back when
groceries.
wala pang ganon. Kumbaga, it was one of the big names.
It was the next big name after like Uniwide collapsed.
Yes.
Because before Uniwide was the big warehouse
And
chain.
then now there's so many of these macro type of stores that macro is now the
SNR,
term.
Macro's gone.
Pero di ba, macro is now the term for, anong klase na yun? Parang macro.
SNR, Landers, all these
Uh.
fancy grocery shopping places.
Which I always confused with PX shops.
I was about I was about to say that only because it's funny because that's the main reason why you go to SNR and Landers
Because of the PX.
because they have all these foreign goods.
Yes.
And but then like for regular grocery shopping, hindi ka nagigets going
unless,
to SNR.
unless you're the type who lives in a compound, so you need to buy wholesale.
Maybe.
Diba?
Or
Because
you're
there are
looking
people.
for a lot of people.
There are people na
Because
ganon.
you get so many big things.
and
And,
I've
then
seen-
parang minimum everybody when you look at the cash register it's like 5,000, 10,000.
And I've
Like,
seen
oh my
that,
god, these people.
I've seen that in SM here. Like, there was this one time, nakapila ako. The woman in front of me, well, it turns out grupo sila. Kasi there were 3 women, they all had carts. But it turns out they're just shopping for one bill.
Hmm.
So one cart was just meats. As in the whole cart was filled with meats. And then the next cart was gulay. And then the next cart was the
Dry
canned goods.
yeah.
And, and I was staring at them and I was looking at the 3 of them and I was already thinking parang, excuse me, ilang pamilya to? Because it was literally chickens. I think there were 8 chickens. And then they started bringing out the sausages and the pork chops.
Wow, ang daming ref niyan.
dami. Oo nga. So, sobra ako nakatingin lang ako. I was so tempted to ask, may card ba kayo? Pwede nyo ilagay na lang yung points sa card ko.
When you be that person with the SM Advantage card. Okay. And then
So
Mitch
Mitch
also
yeah.
says, that we stick with the brand.
Mhm.
If now tusan ka and did you buy the exact brand and size lagot kay mother, uy, that's true. Pag
Hindi lang kay
nautusan.
mother.
Oo. Wait. What are you trying to say?
Nothing.
What are you trying to say?
No, I just called him. I'm like, Rocky, is this the brand? That's Rocky mga ilang grams?
My number one challenge is always like things like Downy, Sunrise Fresh, and then minimum 900 ml.
See?
No, because the other scents of Downy are pangit. So. And then other fabric softener, I'm sorry. It's like one of those brand loyalty moments. I only get Downy because everything else is pangit. And I was
Everything
raised
else is downer.
and I was only raised with that 1 cent. Ignoring that, I was only raised with that 1 cent. And so I feel like we've been forever chasing the Sunrise Fresh scent versus all other fabric softeners.
Kenny's here, and
Kenny,
Kenny's
it's
the
your
one who asked
topic.
the topic.
Yeah, okay.
So Kenny mentions a bit late in the stream. Everyone has different brand preferences in the family.
I feel that's true. I mean, I think that the family environment you grew up in greatly influences what brands you get.
And that's where you either tell them, okay, shopping days on Friday. Ito yung listahan. Fill it up. And then when they complain, bakit ito yung nasa listahan? Black Swana mentions, I try not to be picky, but I tend to like, but I buy Heinz brand ketchup, so it's too far for me. And nothing else. But also at the same time, any brand of chips, because I love the salt vinegar
Like,
flavor.
yeah, you don't have a brand preference for everything. But then there are certain things that parang automatic you have to get only this thing.
Or you can embrace my mindset, which is you try to get stuff that looks like something
No.
you're more accustomed to.
No.
And then
You know, okay, how many times have you eaten what you call quote unquote pirated food and have been happy with the pirated version?
that's how you know not to buy them again.
Eh, The Toby goes on these convenience store adventures and then he'll go next door and then ano naman yan?
Then I'm like,
Oo.
and I'll eat it. And then, pirated Pringles.
He gets things that look like Pringles, things that look like Uishi things that look like whatever. And then it's always like, no. I'm like, why did you buy it? Why?
Even drinks, diba? Like,
Yeah.
parang ano.
No. So yeah, so if you notice that there are like brands that are unfamiliar but have a product that look like a popular brand. So yeah, it looks like Pringles, but it's not Pringles, or it looks like
So you have,
looks like Yan Yan.
kunyari, you'll have Kit Kat, and then you have something that's, take a break ba yan? And then you have something which is, Snap ba yan? And then you have a few other brands that are unheard of. But then you look at the price, 15 pesos, 7. Try to test it. And then when you try it, pirated Kit Kat.
Every time he said pirated Yakult, pirated, it's like, ay nako. And every time I was like, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you doing it to yourself?
And I realize it also works for movies when you watch those B movies. Pirated pirates.
Mitch says brand preference. Weirdly, the Pringles cheese, yung slender, is much saltier than a bit wider traditional size. Oh, I've never thought about that. Yeah, those weird Pringles like mini packs versus the
Mm.
towers. Okay, so Mitch is arguing it tastes different.
They don't.
But okay, I think a factor is some of the Pringles are packaged in Asia and some are packaged in the US.
So those have different formulas, definitely. The Asia, because the one in the US has a lot more corn syrup related products, and the ones in Asia don't. That's a sad but true fact that a lot of US goods, if you really study it, are Please message when you can hear us again. We think we're back. Yeah, I can see us.
Waiting
So.
to reconnect. Waiting to reconnect.
We should have
Waiting
reconnected.
to reconnect. Okay. All right. Last one. He'll dabble in store brand cereal in the huge bags. Okay. Store brands. So actually, a lot of store brands are actually made by reputable brands, but then get genericized, and so aren't that bad. But um, I don't know. I think you have better store brands in the US than store brands here. Because our main store brand
It's
is like
SM bonus.
SM Bonus, okay, and SM Bonus is a crapshoot. I feel like there's like a very small percentage of SM Bonus products that are actually good, and then the rest are pangit. So,
Kasi kung maganda siya, bonus na yun. So,
and then did Robinson have a store brand also? No.
yeah, I can't remember the name.
And then I think Shopwise is. So it's like it's very rare that the local Sure Buy. Okay, yeah, there's certain I think Sure Buy had a bit more good things. But then like me for store brand stuff, I would go for non-food.
Mhm.
Like I don't feel too bad buying store brand paper towels maybe versus like
Store
canned
brand
goods.
chicken,
Yeah,
store
yeah, yeah.
brand. And then there's always that we never buy the pre-marinated stuff.
Okay, that's a given. Even before keto.
Yes, because that is always they're using seasoning to make it extend, so to speak.
It always feels like it's the extra bits
Now,
that have been repackaged to be better.
now in all transparency, we are not sure. Maybe it's fresh meat and they just do premix because they want to help people who don't have time to season na luto na lang. So we're stating that as a possible fact.
Mitch says, yes, they have better. Yung Sure Buy has better stuff because of URC Robinson's family. I consider that too. And okay, we live in a Robinson's property, and it has the weird benefit of getting periodically we keep getting these Nutri Asia gift packs. Like just this month, the whole build every unit is entitled to a box
Mhm.
of Nutri Asia things, and
Mhm.
it's like
A lot of
you
MSG.
dalandan it again and some canned goods, and it's not even a care package. It's always like the other time it was market research. I
Yeah.
felt because it was a bunch of variants on their milk tea.
And the mogo mogo thing.
Yeah,
And it worked. I started buying some of them.
yeah. Toby buys into the
But
market.
later it was like pirated quickly. So Kenny mentions Best Buy is for National Bookstore. Yeah, Best Buy paper, Best
Okay,
Buy.
once again, because like how can you screw up paper? It's just like
Well,
it's,
but meron na. There are really sad bond paper.
okay, but
Nah.
yeah, but the Best Buy it's like not bad, not
Yeah.
bad.
No, they're good quality now. Kenny says it's a good condo perk. Well, I think it's just a timing perk. I don't think it's really a condo perk because it's not like it's happened before prior to pandemic.
No, but there were some before pandemic.
Christmas.
Tsaka those variants of C2 were all the C2 milk tea
That was
experiment.
pandemic na.
No, it wasn't pandemic. It was pre-pandemic. Because I feel like they're just testing us and then like seeing if we'll buy.
Test market.
Okay. Andrew said, in terms of grocery shopping, do you consider the prices given by groceries? Like sabi, my mom wants to go to High Top or Pure Gold if sinisipag siya kasi mas affordable doon.
Well, I think that only really matters if your focus is the grocery prices, because that means you're ignoring the gas and parking prices.
Mm-mm. I think we always weigh against how practical it is to go. Like
Mhm.
I mean, like when we were in Cubao, we would definitely shop at Shopwise, and I felt like the pricing was okay, but the rewards program was great, and I super gamed that system.
Yeah.
And then parang in a year,
We'd have 2 months.
we'd have enough
two
points
groceries.
for
Yeah.
at least 1 to 2 groceries worth na practically libre na.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was also us squeezing out the times 10 day shopping days.
there used to be times 10 on Wednesday if you brought recyclable bags.
Not every Wednesday. First
Wednesday.
of the month. Yeah.
And then it's like as long as you can fit it in your reusable bag. So we bought like 10 reusable bags.
And we still use them.
And we
until now.
still use reusable bags for all our groceries. Okay. So it fed my environmentalist perk. Now we live in Taguig. The closest groceries are really just SM and Robinsons.
Mhm.
And the Robinsons and Marketplace are very expensive.
And the price range difference is huge.
You feel it. So we end up going to SM na lang.
Yeah.
We could go to Shopwise in Makati, but it's so far. And then parking is a bitch. So
And then lastly, time is a resource you have to keep in
yeah.
mind. In as much as you can say, hindi, pwede naman natin lakarin doon, it's 100 pesos cheaper. But that means, look at it this way. If I pay you 100 to go there and buy something for me, will you do it? Because that's the 100 pesos that you quote unquote paid yourself to save on money to go somewhere else and buy it back.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. So I don't know. So we balance convenience and price. So like we're definitely buying from the cheapest grocery we could of good quality within BGC, which is SM hypermarket, supermarket, whatever. But then, parang if we were closer to Shopwise, I think we would still shop at Shopwise.
True.
So we weigh against distance.
I remember when we used to shop at Shopwise in
Cubao.
Cubao, our biggest lament was how nice the vegetable and fruit areas looked sa
In SM, yes.
Because of Shopwise, they felt so sad.
yeah,
But then when we visit SM, parang, ay, fuck naman, ganda ng ayos.
it's a very pretty grocery.
Compared to Shopwise, na parang, bleh. Parang nandun na yung mga gulay. And then, hunt for what you need.
It was a bit more work, but then it was worth it.
But then, when we did shop in SM, we were like, oh my God, for the ambiance, this is the difference of the price.
yeah, our total bill would be much bigger. And then just because it's pretty doesn't mean it's gonna go bad
Yes.
any less. So there were still times na parang we bought it today, and then by the weekend it's like, oh, parang malambot na yung mga kamatis and all that. Okay. Black Swana shares they have a small Filipino grocery in his area. Never gone in, but I do wonder what brands they sell. I've seen brands like Mamacita and bigger chain stores like Safeway though. You work with what you can get when you're outside, right? When you're not in the Philippines. And my sister has a similar situation in Singapore, and only certain Filipino brands are of export quality. So you will see the usual suspect, which is normally Mamacita.
Yeah.
Which is like a funny
And
name.
then-
It sounds so Spanish.
And then you have to be on the lookout for, I don't know what to call it, cultural confusion moments. Like some supermarkets cut up certain fruit in a weird
Oh.
way, not
Oh.
realizing that, for us, we just have the whole fruit and we break it open and eat it. But then they'll have it in these weird slices because they're thinking that's how we package pineapples. So we'll package it this way as well.
I've seen that.
And then,
I've seen
and
that.
then some naman get really strange labels sometimes.
Mm.
So like something as simple as suka for us will be a very differently named vinegar or a very differently named soy sauce for other. They find very strange ways of labeling some food.
Mitch shares nowadays the usual staple she goes for Lasmart. Out of 20 times I've ordered, only one time the screw upping order.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean like before pandemic, we were definitely heavier on online grocery for the convenience. Like we went through the whole gamut of Metromart, Honest Bee. I super miss Honest Bee. Honest Bee was
we
the
miss
best.
Honest Bee.
And then push cart's sad because they lala move your food from a very far away grocery. So it's really boxes that show up in your house. And then but then the pandemic happened and then it was next to impossible to grocery online. So we ended up until we had to start going for the grocery again since the pandemic started.
Mm-hmm.
And then parang now we're like in that mode na naman. Parang we'll just it's because when it comes to vegetables, it's better off picking on your own than having someone shop for you.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, because Mitch was saying, have you tried Metromart? I've gone back to that recently, and now the Robinsons group has all their stuff online. You can grocery online, but the shopper fees are very high. So like you're typically paying at least 1 to 200 pesos just for the shopper,
Mm-hmm.
which I get because I felt like that was Honestby's problem that their fees were so low they didn't make money.
Yeah.
So
They
they really
didn't
have
grow.
to cover themselves. But then nakakahinayang na parang, di let's grocery na lang. Kasi 200 pesos, that's not even gas and parking to get to SM for us. Because SM, I can see SM outside our window. So it's still better for us to grocery on
And
our own.
ako, I don't mind the cost if they were as what's the word?
Diligent, fastidious.
Yeah, to
Careful.
to what to buy and to what to replace it with.
Yeah.
But that's where it gets frustrating kasi parang as much as you'll say 200, at least your convenience, you're just at home and resting. Yeah, but it's not convenient when you open the stuff and like, oh, wala yung chicken.
Or
Oh.
my bread is a pancake.
Oh, so bigla na lang you're now panicking how you'll adjust your meal plans and your food.
Yeah, I haven't
So,
tried Lasmart, but I have been using Lazada for my keto stuff. So I used to walk to the organic, fancy health grocery down the street. But then, since I found a supplier for most of my stuff, and then the stuff was of better quality and cheaper price, then I stick to Lazada. And then, since there's a sale every month, now I only do my keto grocerying once a month. So I just did it today on 6/6.
Now we haven't gone shopping in Market, as tempting as it is, because they have the wet market area, the
and the
farmers
seafood.
market style.
Mm.
Only because of convenience. The moment I'm parked in SM to do the groceries, I want to get it done and get out. And probably prior to the pandemic, I'd be willing pa to go around.
Yeah,
and-
but now grocery shopping is like quick in, quick out.
yeah, because
Minimize exposure.
yeah, it's still exposure that I keep thinking of. And I don't know, I've already mapped out sort of my routes when I do my groceries, so I don't linger longer than I have to.
Linger longer. Linger
Yeah.
longer.
So I just make sure I have a little bit of quickly time when I can.
Kenny shares he misses the convenience of living in Pasig because there was a near Filipino grocery and beside it a talipapa. And we only do grocery for weekly, monthly goods. Oh, okay. Yeah, so and then you already answered Mitch. We haven't really grocery at Market. Then to be fair, there is a grocery in the basement of Market,
Mm.
which it's like one of those what is this chain? It's a weird brand. And
Yeah.
then but it's the one attached to like the Metro department stores and then like maybe I'm a little brand conscious even for that. So I'd rather stick to SM. And also because since we're not doing Shopwise anymore, then we're only really trying to game SM Advantage. And it's SM Advantage one of the worst value for your money
Yeah.
point reward systems. But it is what we have.
At least meron.
And at least meron, and it covers gas and grocery at least. And then if I buy anything at Watson's. So that's that deal. But still not great.
So other things to consider in groceries.
Oh, I guess we could talk about grocery lists versus free-handing grocery.
Mm.
We've never been super rigid from a list perspective. Like, I think it was only in the pandemic that we started. Hey, good night, Rehan. I
Good
think it's
night.
only during the pandemic that we started really trying to list. We had to list a bit more
Mhm.
because I wasn't able to go to the grocery with you, and then there are things I need
Mhm.
that I don't necessarily tell Toby. I just pick them up and add them to the cart when we would shop together. So there is that.
Yeah, SM Aura has been good in the sense of we can get practically everything we need there.
Mm-mm.
Even when the pandemic was still in the higher alert status levels, SM had um, Watson's and Ace na ba?
Mm-mm. To
Which-
cover a lot
Which
of things.
basically allowed you to, if you needed hardware stuff, if you needed medicine related stuff, So that kind of was a nice triumvirate that I could visit in one go. Um, Beyond that, there was a time we tried going to the one on High Street, the grocery there for emergencies when
Central Square.
we couldn't find lettuce, we couldn't find garlic, so we tried going
So
there.
marketplace.
And then I've gone all the way
Uptown.
in hopes of finding stuff there as well. Um,
Robinson's selection's expensive, guys.
Yeah.
And then their veggie range is so small. I don't understand what happened to Robinson's. But before, if you were going to do things like Metro Mart or even Honest Bee, you were most likely shopping at Robinson's.
Mhm.
So there's that funny thing. Na parang if we had the choice, no. Mitch says SMR has a lot of variety of items. It's one of the premium groceries. I will concede that SMR is quite expansive, and then there's a big like foreign goods section in the middle.
Mhm.
There's like a hardware, home goods stuff in the corner.
and the wholesale area.
There's a wholesale
So
area.
you can like buy seasoning by the gallon, or
yeah, and they have their own version of like sort of
yung
pre-cooked
ganong
stuff.
kalaking
Mayonnaise.
ganong kalaking tawag doon? Thyme. Ganong kalaking basil.
Mitch shares, those in Ortigas, if you want to avoid the people of Mega Mall, go to Podium. There's an SM grocery in the basement.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've never really shopped at Mega Mall for groceries. I thought about it the last time we went for DFA, but then by the end of that day, it's like I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here. We've been out too long. Exposure. Okay. Yeah. So we don't. So we sort of list still, but then I think because we're so used to what we get every week, and we get almost the same things every week. Then there's little variation. Then we don't need to list as much. Kenny says, if I was doing grocery lists when I was living with other people, but when I live by myself, I just plan an ulam for the week rather than items I'll buy. And that's kind of chicken and egg, no? Like, do you buy ulam and figure it out, or do you buy ingredients and figure out what to cook, or do you figure out your meal plan and buy?
Yeah,
stuff?
we've kind of stuck to we already know what we're cooking, so we buy those ingredients, and then sometimes we might add a little bit of something that might allow us to do something else.
Yeah.
So like we were considering trying to crack that adobo mystery
Yeah,
angle.
I still haven't gotten to
But
it.
ako rin, I'm not willing pa kasi work also has been too heavy. So I'm like, I want to do something I can do almost unconsciously, then go back to a meeting.
Yeah, and then if anyone pays attention to my food pictures when I do post stuff, you'll notice that every week I will probably cook sinigang or tinola.
Mhm.
There's always one soup, one of those soups. I'll probably cook kimchi soup at least once. I'll probably make some cabbage stir fry at least once. There's like these things that keep happening.
And then me, it's the chicken, it's the pork,
Pork
chops, occasionally the liempo or the salmon.
Those are Tobie's like bonus
Yeah,
items.
but I really miss the fresher salmon.
It's-
That was so good.
Yeah, there was during the early days of the grocery, there was a mobile market that would show up in the conference room.
But the one I missed the most preparing
Hmm.
is the blue shell crab,
The soft shell crab.
the soft shell crab.
The salad.
Which when we made our own fish and company soft shell crab salad, oh, that was so good. But then we can't do that now.
It's not as easy to find the crab, and then now you can only bread it in egg, which is still
Or-
not bad.
Or whey powder.
Yeah.
And then even the seasoning will be different. Because it used to
Can't
be the
use balsamic.
sweeter balsamic.
I'm sorry, my keto life has like really changed things.
Favorite cooked meals? Maybe another episode.
Maybe another episode.
We could do that as an episode.
Because we cook. Okay, to be fair, we cook most of our meals, and I feel guilty. So and it was just we're weekly grocery people now. Only because since I'm on keto, I eat a lot of vegetables, like ridiculously amount of roughage because it's my rice. So instead of rice, I eat vegetables. So you can't really stock up on vegetables too long because they get really crappy over time,
Yes.
and we only have one fridge. So so we load up, and then you'll be surprised at how much Toby brings home. He'll have like 8 to 10 like heads of lettuce, and then by the end of the week, it's gone.
Because I also buy lettuce based on what I know as a serving size.
Yeah.
So I
yeah.
don't just grab lettuce. I grab a bag which I know this is one day, this is another day, this is another
Mhm.
day. Para when we're preparing, you just grab one, it's good enough for a meal na. And that's part of what I've sort of tried to do. Na like, even with the meats, when they pack it, I like,
Break
ibahin
it
mo na
up
to,
na. Yeah,
para
yeah.
yun lang i-defrost. Um, yeah. Then what else? There's, admittedly, I do miss being able to do some of the other staples that I used to be able to do. Only because nga, we were in the keto thing. So, like, I remember we used to do home tacos also.
Oh yeah.
Diba?
I miss making other pastas. Like now I just make oil based stuff. I used to do spaghetti.
Yeah, I also had the pasta dish I used to do. There was that dip I used to make, that nacho dip, where we used the crushed taco shells as the, ano,
With cheese whiz. I miss cheese whiz.
and yung mga ganun. So, stuff which, um, yeah, they're no longer in the circulation, which really just pushes you to consider new stuff to create.
Yeah, which is and as much as it was fun, it was good. But then, okay, admittedly, we're eating a lot healthier now than we used to.
That's true.
And then so the trade off is that how much we spend on groceries. We it's a challenge to throughout the week to like make sure we cook.
Mhm.
So I feel guilty every time we order out, and then like so especially and we're more likely to order out one when we're super busy and we don't have time to cook, or two, um, we're busy with gaming and are too busy to cook. So now I'm like trying to balance things off with like when and I try to always have leftovers
Mhm.
in the fridge so that during busy points then we can bring out leftovers and not order out. So I think this week we've actually been pretty good.
Mhm.
Like we've only eaten leftovers, or there were days like they were already like, do we order na? Do we order
Yeah.
na?
Although for me, admittedly, there's a lot of, wala, just no time to prep stuff.
Yeah.
So parang order na lang. I don't want to think about cooking right now. Especially the last few days have been hectic. Kenny asks, do you find yourselves distracted and get extra stuff that wasn't in the list? Everything's on the list. You just didn't write them down.
Toby likes to rescue food.
I don't rescue food. I rescue toys.
You still rescue food. It's in that range of pirated experimentation. Because you're like, look, oh, it looks like something.
No one likes it.
No,
So I'll buy it.
there's no one likes it. It's alone. It has no friends.
I'll
I
help
know.
it reach its,
Mitch
its
like free
reason
takes
of
a grocery.
existence.
Oh, I miss samples at the grocery.
I never felt comfy with
Really?
samples.
Oh my
at
god!
grocery.
I super always like.
I always
I drank everything. I eat everything.
I'm always scared that it's
Not
weird.
safe.
Yeah. So like they'll show these small cups na may konting ramen or something. Diba?
Yeah.
Sir, baka gusto niyo try? And I'm like,
Well, that's because Toby about this of the tahanan about
But-
this,
if it were like Sir Jello or Sir
Dessert.
Chocolate, sige. My dad used to be such a hoot when it comes to those things. Because at some point, mamaya kasama na niya yung girl. And then dala-dala yung stuff, tapos kumakain pa rin siya while we're shopping. So like we'll walk and then, Sir, baka gusto niyo try yung mga jello, gano'n. Mukhang masarap yan, ganyan. And then later I'll realize kasama na si girl habang nasa grocery kami. Tapos, Sir, ito pa.
Why is
try
she
niyo na."
following?
Because the dad asked for more. And she's there serving it as we grocery. So it's always funny that way. You always had that way of talking to
So
people.
Mitch says Toby and the chips and chocolate aisle. Okay, the funny thing about that pa is that this is where Toby queues for the cashier.
Because it's the one place in Aura. That one queue goes to two possible cashiers. All the other queues are one cashier.
It just so happens to be next to the chocolate.
It's next to the baking area,
I am
which
baking.
has the chocolate.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Kenny's like, oh, Toby has a messianic complex when it comes to food.
No, I have a black hole complex because I'll devour them all. But
No, I think Toby's more likely to buy weird things, convenience stores. Toby's a convenience store reader, and then he'll really be like, what about this? What about that? And I keep telling him, then why don't you buy these at the grocery where it's cheaper? But admittedly, a lot of these weird brands only exist in the convenience stores for some reason. I don't know.
And then if I buy naman sa grocery, like for example, I bought a bottle of Sprite, it's still there. I still haven't touched it.
Yeah. You have a bottle of root beer actually.
What?
Was there root beer or Coke? There's like behind the
Yeah.
thing. We bought it for a game night that never happened because pandemic. So funny things.
I
Funny
haven't
things.
bought ice cream again.
Wow. So proud of
To
you.
2 months. I deserve a mango pearl.
No, you've been buying yourselves weird yogurt things.
No, because I found this nice yogurt place that no, not yogurt place. This yogurt bottle that it's like 1 liter and it's yummy and it's already due. I should finish it.
So it has replaced. It's like your ice cream, because you eat it in the same bowl. That's Toby for
Well,
you.
because it's supposed to be a drink, but I feel weird if I drink it.
It's so thick. It's too thick to be a drink.
See?
Oh yeah, you're gonna sample it now.
No. Later I'll finish it. But see, so this one, so it's a yogurt thing. It's 1 whole liter. Um, they got different flavors. I like the blueberry one right now. I tried the mango and it's parang weird. The mango. And then
I
I
have to say it that way.
and then I tried a small version of the unsweetened and the boring. And then I tried a small version of the strawberry, but that was the one that was bad. When I opened it, but yeah, this is nice. It's
Santa
yogurt.
Maria Dairy.
Mhm. I like it.
Kenny says, "You bring you satisfaction buying snacky food in convenience stores compared to grocery stores." I think so. I get that. I get that appeal.
I think it's just convenience stores. There's less, so you kind of notice them. But in the grocery, there's so many things, so it becomes a white noise, and you end up looking for something familiar.
Mm-mm.
Convenience stores naman, it's small enough na, what's this? What's this? What's this? You're looking at that. So yeah, that's
Is it a drink? It's supposed to be.
This
but
one,
Toby eats it like pudding.
it says it's a drink, but I feel weird drinking it because it's still a bit too buo-buo for me. If this is a drink, then champurrado is a drink.
And we all know how we feel about that. Okay.
Champurrado is a soup. Yun na naman tayo.
See, this is why Kenny's like, this is why people ask for mukbang and food reviews from us.
But I'm not a pleasant eater. I have all these weird nooks and crannies from my braces days that things keep getting stuck. So I'm always picking at my teeth or toothpicking something out. I'm yucky. to
Toby
watch.
always has toothpicks in his wallet. He's super
Yeah.
Jay says,
he
okay,
misses yogurt.
he bought the same brand a few months ago while walking to UP. Why not have yogurt? Is there something, no, yogurt's not lactose, right? Depending
No,
on the,
it's good for your stomach. See, it says over there.
this is like Toby and Yakult. And then he became a big convert of one of his pirated Yakults.
So you consume before June 7. I have tonight to finish this.
With your cake
Mhm.
and your egg pie.
I can have it with cake.
And this is why I call them punishment carbs. Not that Toby feels bad about it, but because he's the only one consuming all these carby things. Then he reaches the point where they're close to going bad, and then he's like, "I have to eat them all. I have to eat them all." Then you'll see him like multiple times in the day, like, "I have to finish the yogurt. I have to finish the yogurt." It's like, what the hell are you doing to yourself?
Although lately I've been getting fruit
Hmm.
because I've been enjoying those.
But it's still punishment card. It was the same things. Like the siniguelas are starting to go bad. Now I have to eat them, and then like every merienda is like, I have to eat. I have to eat. So I don't know. I don't know. It's like it's a balancing act. Okay. Mitch, do you do that selection process while being in a long queue? I don't think.
Selection process or what?
Oh, yung people. There are people who put a lot of stuff in their cart, and then when they're in queue, they take things
Oh
out.
no, that's terrible. That's like shame on you on leaving a mess near the counter.
Yeah, we're pretty because we're pretty set in our ways. It's very rare that we remove stuff from little baby's ice cream. Okay, so it's very rare that we regret any purchases.
Mhm.
I think our only problem in queue is like, ah, shit, there's no price tag on this vegetable.
Yeah, and then we tend to be the one to have to be the one to rush to have it replaced because The baggers are terrible in SMR.
That's what I miss about Shopwise because they had it was such a thing for show, but there's that one clerk on rollerblades
Yes.
who does price checks, and you'll really see him zoom to the area and zoom.
What I hate in supermarkets are those people who buy goods, leave them in the cart, then they leave the cart there because they're still shopping. So like you're in line, but there's a cart on the side that's not in line, or in line but babalik later, and then it's like dripping blood na because the meats and stuff are still there. And I'm like, "Mm." And then I also hate more than that. I hate the people who open stuff na and eat it while there.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yung they bought chips and then wala pa sila sa bayaran, they're opening it na, they're eating it na, and then they'll just pay for it later.
Wow.
But like,
The other thing that Toby really hates is the fact that by the time we
the show doesn't like me angry. And we're back.
you think what Toby was caught on video.
So yeah, I hate it when people eat stuff while in line, and then it's just messy. Um, and then the people who can't seem to push their own carts. In fact, it's a whole set. It's they get to the counter, and then rather than just load it up there, they're sobrang slowly one by one putting stuff normally because they're on the phone pa or
They're talking to each
pa.
other.
Yeah. And then as the bagger is preparing things, or worse, walang bagger, so si kahera pa yung naglalagay sa bag, they're just there waiting. Normally, there's at least two of them or three of them, and they're just waiting. And then they see the kahera trying to accomplish things faster, bag it as well. And then finally, a bagger shows up, brings a cart, starts helping pack stuff, and then they'll ask the bagger pa to bring the cart to them. And I'm like, wala pa kayong 2,000, kunin niyo yung bagger. So,
And I feel like the baggers also take advantage because
They're not
all
there,
these
less
all these
work.
long trips to the parking lot mean they don't have to bag.
yeah.
So okay. That's what I asked. When both of you are in queue, does one of you say, "Hold on, I gotta get something," and leave the other for the awkward interaction of waiting with the cashier? For us, it's not awkward.
Mhm.
It's really divide and conquer for me and Toby. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we'll prep with like whoever's at the counter has to have like the appropriate grocery rewards card. And then it's really I will get something and then I will rush and I'll come back. And I feel like in that sense, I always and I know it sounds very sexist, but we shop like guys. So if I'm saying I'm gonna get a thing, I'm gonna get the thing, and I won't really spend too much time looking for other things.
Me, I will get the thing plus other things.
But you'll do it quickly. To be fair, it's normally things of opportunity.
Now that I've been shopping alone, I've made it a point to talk to the people in the line. That way, there's that, excuse me, yeah, I'm behind you. And then if that person ever leaves to buy stuff, then when they come back, they know I'm the one there. Likewise, if I have to rush and grab something, they know I'm the one behind them. So it has avoided a number of issues because I am the person who will call you out when, excuse me, there's a line.
That's the Toby.
That's me. Because I know, none of this arteng, I didn't see there's a line, so I went in front. I'm so sorry.
Especially socially distant line. There's a bigger gap between carts now. So there's especially when you're like there has to be an aisle for people to pass, and so the carts are super distant from the cashier, and then they'll be like, "Oh, pipila," and like, please la. Okay. So Kenny says he doesn't mind people opening bottles to drink because oftentimes groceries thirsty work, but more tolerable if the kids are the ones eating. Like I don't know, I also feel a little uncomfortable. Don't teach your kids to eat the grocery. And then of course Andre asked anyone does the thing where you eat the thing you will buy while in line. So obviously we're not the people who buy
Yeah.
the thing. I think the only time, like in my family history, that we've had to do that is more, um, w- parang we got a drink to drink medication,
Mhm.
and then the person needed to take it sooner.
That I
So
can
so
understand.
go.
Kasi you open up this kind of forms. Okay, so you opened it while in line, or worse, you opened it while in the grocery. You're not even in line and you're eating it na. Okay, so one, how will we track that yun lang ang kinain mo?
Mm-mm.
Two, saan mo tatapon yung basura? Iliwan mo sa cart. So ano yun? Yung next person pa magtatapon nun.
Yeah, we've seen empty wrappers
And
in
then
carts.
last, paano
That's
yung
sad.
mga nahulog sa floor? Binulot mo ba? And more often than not, people who have been eating in the grocery,
Make a mess in the
they
grocery.
don't bother
Yeah.
to pick up their mess. You'll see the cart left there at may mga wrapper na naiwan. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's so grumpy. Arr, 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 arr. It's like, oh, those times her mom would need to rush back because there was may nalimutan. And then siya yung nasa pila. Umiyak ako kasi wala pa si mother. But now it's okay. You can manage in the
I've
cashier.
had moments wherein I'm in line and then hindi pa bumalik yung kasama, yung family. So I tell the person next to me, sige, sige, go ahead. And then they, kasi it's weird to start going through the cashier thing and then bigla na lang, wait lang ha, they're still in there. I hate to delay people that way.
mm
Yeah.
Quirky grocery things. No, but I was just, but then like if given the chance, definitely I'd want to. I mean, there was a midpoint in the pandemic when things were getting better, and then like Toby and I were able to go grocery together. Or it started this year. Started this year, we were able to grocery together again, and then it was nice. I super miss grocery together, and we're pretty efficient together. Because then like Toby, like when we get like when we first enter, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna go get eggs. Toby's gonna start getting queuing for meat.
Yeah.
I get vegetables then after the eggs, and then it's like constantly like I'll orbit, like I'll get stuff. I'll find Toby at the meat section. I'll drop it in the cart. I'll go get stuff. Go back to the cart, and so we get things done very fast.
Yeah.
And typically our grocery shopping together is not even 30 minutes.
Mhm.
We'll spend more time in queue at the counter. So yeah. Oh, yeah, Kenny's like, it happened to him too. A lady asked na may kukunin lang siya, and then she took so long that he went ahead. Yeah, it's like, it's hard that when you, I mean, I get it. It's hard when you're shopping alone. You don't have anybody to watch your stuff, but don't expect to be able to wait that long. And it's worse if it's like, I mean, I think it's okay if you're rushing back to pick something quick off the shelf. If you're rushing to go to the meat section to have something chopped up, no, it's not
And then
going to
my
work.
other pet peeve are people who aren't actively in the supermarket. So, for example, grocery, daan-daan, the groceries, cashiers setting it up, person's waiting. Finally, tapos na, ito yung total. Magkano yung total? Bigay price. And then, dun pa lang siya magbubukas ng bag to look for the card. And then, or bubukas ng phone to load the app. And then, pwede magbayad ng ganyan. And then, dun pa lang niya gagawin. And I'm like, then sana the whole time while the cashier was doing all the scanning and you're doing nothing, hindi hinanda mo na yung pera mo.
So angry.
Kasi these people, they're not aware of time, and time is money.
It's like it's the equivalent of when you're in line at the fast food and then the person ahead of
Doon
you
pala
gets to the
mag-iisip,
counter and like,
anong meron dito? Ay, nako.
Okay, so I don't know about other pet peeves because I think Toby has already, without prompting, given most of his pet peeves at the grocery, which I generally share. Like I don't have anything in particular that I don't like.
Okay, this one,
Oh,
this
he
one
has
I will
more.
bring up. But I get why they do it.
Okay,
I have a big cart. It's filled with smaller carts.
a smaller basket.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's the stupid cart queue system based on cart size. Like blue
Not just.
basket,
Not just.
big cart.
Para when they pull it out, isang ganun lang.
Yeah, that's true. There's that. I get my basket, I put it on the counter so I don't unload it.
Yes.
Okay.
And normally, I understand that attempt to quicken things. But then they'll have a big cart with a smaller cart, but then the big cart itself with the smaller cart is overloaded. So isa-isa pa rin nilang ginaganon. So I'm like,
Oh, I think our other big pet peeve is people who leave their carts at the cashier.
yes, that
So
one
like
is
they unload the cart and then they leave it inside, and then
they're leaving na, and I'm
they,
like, excuse me,
they don't even push it out,
Mhm.
or at least push it to the side if you're not
Yeah.
gonna push it out. It's like
or
such a
leave
thing.
groceries in the cart that they're leaving pa.
Then you're not sure what's going on. Na parang, did you forget? Did you forget this? You
Yes.
just decide not to buy it.
Yes. Mitch shares a pet peeve with the family.
Kung kailan tapos na ako magbayad, doon magsasabi ng pabili. There is that. Or like you're texting and stuff, and then bigla na lang, uy, can you get also ganyan? And like, I'm out na.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Jay asks, you have a specific sequence for picking up stuff like toiletries first, then snacks, then meats.
Officially,
Officially,
you're
it's
supposed
left
to do
to right.
officially you should do the meats and
Last.
the gulay last because you want them to be nakatenga on your cart the least amount of time.
Nakatenga.
However, with the pandemic, we do it first
Yes.
because we did experience dati yung wala nang chicken
No eggs.
or wala nang eggs or oh wow yun yung natirang gulay.
Yeah. So
So
we end up doing that first.
yeah, so we don't want to risk that anymore, and we do the meats and vegetables first. Sadly, that has led to one occasion where the chicken went bad.
And we're not sure, like, was it because it was end of day or because it got bad in the cart?
Yeah.
So
But-
it's hard to
But
say.
beyond that one instance, generally we've been okay. If you're the type who'll go shopping after grocery, then I'm sorry, it's not smart. Leaving the cart at the supermarket so you can go to the mall and do your stuff doesn't mean your stuff in the cart is safe.
Yeah,
It
or,
just
or
means
it's like
It's
non-perishing.
It's just there on the side with a cover, so it's still going to defrost and all that.
Yeah, Mitch's strategy is to tell them, I am in 30 minutes, I'm done. Tell me now what you want, which is
Me,
fair.
I call, diba? That's why I call you.
Toby
Para lang,
calls
it's,
me.
ano eh. Kasi if I message you, you might miss it pa because of work or something,
Oh.
and then I get stressed
Yeah,
wondering.
Our bigger problem now is because now our grocery is so routine. So I have a list of things to get, but sometimes I have to do a list of things not to get.
Mhm.
Because like we have staples like kimchi, tofu, yeah, and then there are times like, oh, we didn't need to get because we still have so many, and then so I have a negative list also for Toby because again we're so routine, but sometimes because we weren't able to cook as much as we wanted to during the week, then
So Mitch
that's right.
mentions you can request ice sa SM to keep your food chilled. I think that's no longer being done. Only because of the guy pa lang dun sa where you leave the cart is rarely there.
Yeah, iba-iba.
Sobrang-
Parang you end up talking to whoever bagger you can stop to like go to the
So
cart
medyo
park.
magulo yung system nila na yun. And then they have that rule now of you can't bring the cart into the mall.
Mm-mm.
So hanggang doon ka lang sa Shopwise, sa supermarket area, you can't bring it in. But if you have a taxi up front and a bagger, they can bring
And
the
the
cart.
bagger.
They can bring the cart for you.
Okay. Swana asks, as I mentioned, it's like for him, it's when people realize they don't need a thing and leave it somewhere where it shouldn't be. I mean, yeah. Then for us, it's like you'll see a weird range of things in the supermarket aisle, like with the
Mhm.
gum, the toothbrush,
Yeah.
and suddenly canned goods.
I'm fine with that generally because I understand sometimes it's a budget concern.
If it's budget,
Yeah.
I understand.
What
Actually,
I-
I
what I
feel
can't-
bad when I see that
What
happen.
I can't stand is when it's like chicken.
Oh, when it's like perishable goods.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I'm like, wala eh. Who will get that now? Tatapon na
Mm-mm.
lang yan. Because it's not like they can get the chicken and put it back there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kenny also asked what they want before he goes. More often, palagi mahina signal. Yeah, that's true though. Especially like SM Aura, the signal is bad in some spots. And then I know that, and so even if Toby tries to call, sometimes I can't get it, and then like I'm better off like messaging. But even then, delayed yung whether it's data or SMS, gets delayed.
And then, I guess my last thing is when you buy vegetables, excuse me, burping. Don't rely on muscle memory because they do rotate the vegetables.
Oh, that's
So
true.
when you're on a shelf and you're always buying, kunyari here, the green peppers, because it's, let's say, 30 pesos compared to the other place, which is 70, they sometimes do switch locations. So you might be getting without thinking, but that's the 70 na
Actually,
pala.
in general,
Oo.
that's like a classic grocery tactic
Yeah.
where they rotate things because it slows people down.
And it increases the chance they'll get more of
Yeah,
things they weren't planning to get.
because the less routine your grocery shopping becomes, the more likely you will pick up incidental items.
Yes.
It's why groceries rotate stuff
Mhm.
on a regular basis.
Kaya parang if you're always getting the chips here, when next time you look, oh, wafers na. And then the chips are on another side. Sa giant, it's really meant to, ano. Because suddenly when you're there, wala, sige, wafer na lang. And then you'll see the chips. Oh, sige, chips na rin. May dagdag na.
Yeah, I always use groceries as an example when I used to teach sales in my BPO days because groceries are a brilliant example of sales passive selling through design.
Mhm.
So that's why when you get to the grocery, you'll notice sale items are up front and they always have prominent stands in the middle that catch your attention because these are the goods that they're trying to move because they're going bad or whatnot. And then the most essential things in the grocery
Are
are at
deeper
the
in.
back,
Yeah.
at the deep end, so that you have to pass through everything else before you get there. And then your aisles are broken up with additional sale things. The only thing that's slightly outside of that is like the special stands on the ends of aisles, which are premium spots, which are paid for naman. They're exclusive deals that you have to pay for to put your products there and in the shelves where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So they get featured. So it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant the way groceries are designed to sell you without even having an attendant on every aisle.
Mhm.
Okay. Kenny says, double check the weight and price for vegetables and fruit. There are times mali yung nakatag, especially for bananas. Wow, it's super random for bananas.
Kasi bananas, you can just tear off.
Oh, that's
Then
true.
iba
Because
na.
sometimes people will like
Yeah.
take some only.
Now, others naman, kasi nga they eat in the grocery. And then, no, it's true.
Old man Tobie.
Sagging eaters. So, that's why also when we buy vegetables, we tend to get the ones that, like the onions, we get the ones that are in that clear plastic bag thing, the net, because we know they're magkasama talaga. The other stuff which are parang freestanding, minsan may putol na and stuff, so it's
Mhm.
hard.
And then at the same time, there's always that other tip where just because it's bagged doesn't mean you can't request to get a smaller amount.
Yes.
And but I don't. SM isn't as like, it doesn't seem as easy to do it at SM. But like the Robinsons Groceries and Marketplace, it's so easy to like break up a bag.
That's
Shopwise.
naman. You just have to.
It's just harder to find the person.
Yes, it's just harder to find the person. In my case, there was that last time when I got Siniguelas.
Mhm.
They had 2 trays, and both trays had some that were going bad.
Mm.
And I was like, Ate, I want the good ones. And they were like, kasi ka sir, pwede. So we opened it up, and then feel, squish. And then may nabuong tray na maayos. And then yun ang pinaway ko.
Isn't it fun? That used to be such a mystery to me. Like when you'd watch your parents' grocery, and then like, how can they tell something is good or bad? And then I think we're all just guessing. It's like we all have our systems for like squeezing and determining what is a good squeeze versus a bad squeeze. Okay, I walked into that one. Okay, but yeah, it depends.
I guess that's it. I think I'm done. I don't think there's anything else.
You just want to eat.
No.
You want to eat, but you don't want to eat on cameras too much. Have you guys ever got lost at the grocery store as a kid? No.
Me, yes.
Okay, tell your story.
No, I just got lost. I was with my
How did that
parents.
happen?
I got distracted.
See, that's the problem. See, me, I'm a straight laced kid. I grew up very obedient.
They say,
I wasn't God fearing. I was parents
oh,
fearing.
yeah, but you stay by the eggs. Okay.
That's only in the wet market. In the grocery, I was pushing the cart.
Okay, so you have to realize it's me, Tracy, and Kuya Mai. So there was a lot of things going on. So I tend to sneak off on my own.
Oh, my main problem was that actually I was always distracted by how messy the cart gets as
Mm.
people dump stuff in. And so I was fully motivated to stay with the cart because then I'd start fixing things
Mhm.
and then they just dump things on top. Like, oh, and then I fix it. So even like when we grocery together, I'm kind of like, I have a system for where things are in the cart. The
My
meat are
my
in the rear
system.
left corner. The canned goods
Okay,
will go
I
in the
sort of
right left corner.
followed your system to
I
some extent,
know. I
but
appreciate
but
that.
mine is adjusted to maximize carrying capacity. Because you keep putting stuff there, but as you move the cart, they move back, and then you move it back forward. Oh,
Yeah, because I tried to put non-food in the front, but they slide back. So
because of
it's
inertia.
yeah.
Darn you, inertia.
Oh, Kenny's like, do you have a system for unpacking after doing the groceries?
No.
Not a system per se, but definitely everything has their play. Because since Toby's doing the grocery on his own, then I try to help as much as possible once he gets home, and then I'll work on the canned goods and the dry goods stuff, and then Toby works on the fridge.
I think the closest thing to a system on unpacking, after you succeed in the juggling act of carrying all the bags alone from the car up, um, is one, frozen stuff has to go in first.
Mhm.
As soon as possible, frozen stuff has to go in. Second is the gulay. Kasi nga, they're also, the heat is dying vegetables. Um, the eggs actually are not among the first things I move in. Because as far as I'm concerned, they're still safely in their shells. So
Yeah.
they're going to last a bit longer.
Yeah, because eggs could actually be okay at room temp.
Yeah.
But then, of course, our room temp is not room temp. Especially in the summer. Ooh, okay. So we have people admitting they're wanderers and who got lost in the
we
grocery.
don't do the super disinfecting thing.
Yeah, we got past that. We just make sure we clean food before as we cook, but
Yeah.
but we didn't bother anymore with
we
disinfecting
don't
everything.
super wipe everything down when we get them. I do that though for auxiliary
Deliveries.
stuff. So for example, groceries we stuff them in. But let's say I bought takeout, or let's say I brought home
Lotion.
quickly,
Mm.
then I wipe it down before I start drinking from that. Because I can't help but feel that stuff on the grocery has a less chance than stuff from the kiosks.
They're less exposed to
Yeah.
like breath.
And ano kasi diba SM mismo, they have their people go through that disinfecting thing before they start working.
Do you have a routine after doing grocery? Mitch asks, pre-pandemic and current.
Well, disinfection showers are now our routine after.
Quickly.
Quickly is my current, I'll reward myself.
But kasi admittedly, since grocery has always been the last activity we do if we were at the mall. So the next step is get to the car and
Yeah.
go. So we don't really do much after.
Mhm.
So like if we're going to eat, for example, if we're going to go for dinner and grocery, we eat before we go to the
Yes,
grocery.
that's
And then
true.
grocery is the last activity.
That's true.
Kenny's like, when you were kids, you often sneak in snacks in the cart basket and hope your parents buy it.
Yeah. I don't think they were sneaking in. They're just surprised how much I put in, and then make me choose which one I get to keep.
I at most would ask, but I wouldn't put it in the cart up because I wouldn't do that because I was scared of my parents. So
I mean, in my case, kasi it was a lot of I thought Tracy likes this, ganyan. Di ako, I'll get something I like and put it in. And then Kuya naman, being older, Ma, Pa, I'll get this, ha. Then I'll get something and put it in. And then pagdating na sabi, oh, ano to? And then, it's mine. Oh, which one you want? What?
but you have to, as you tell the story, you're doing stereotypized things. Like it's very Did I put it in? Okay, that's another hour we've been talking about grocery shopping.
I guess to close, while I don't bring back the cart, there was a time I was able to bring back the cart, but lately, no. I do make sure the carts either return to a nearby area where the other carts are,
with their
or
friends.
or secured in an area where the cars are not.
Yeah.
Because I hate it when people leave their carts in the parking area or beside a parking slot. So it's either I find the wall where nandun yung ibang carts, so sasama ko na siya doon. Or kung walang ganon, then I'll find the wall away from the cars and then I'll make sure it's pushed against it.
To
Para
be
it's not
fair, though, like looking at SM Aura parking, there I don't see a formal cart park.
Yeah.
Like compared to like in Singapore, like the groceries that are attached to malls, to mall parking, there's a distinct area where all the carts are. And then Singapore's additional incentive is that when you get a cart, you have to put a $1
May
coin
deposit.
that you release so that yeah you get deposit so that
Return it.
when you return it you get your dollar back.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a motivator. I mean, as long as there's a cart park, I'll totally do it. Shopwise. Before,
Yeah,
when we used to
Shopwise, we do.
Shopwise, I would go all the way to the cart
We
park.
do that. We'll go to the car, we'll unload and offload.
I bring
and
the
then
cart park, and,
and
I
then
like bringing the
either
cart
you'll
park.
bring it back and I drive the car over, or we bring it back. Kasi there was a time, dalawa pa nga carts natin.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. But it's always funny when everything fit in one cart when we were shopping, but then when they're bagged, they become two carts because they're spread out and trying not to stack on each other. Okay. Mitch says, also those Rustan Eco Bag are very sturdy. Nakapag Costco pa siya. Yeah, I definitely go. We only have the canvas bags. Oh, I
Yeah.
can get them now.
There.
I just because I wash the bags after grocery. Toby, you're on camera. It's not sneaking. But yeah, I love these. I love these canvas style bags, and it's funny because look, so we have Rustan Shopwise, and then we have the rare
Yeah, marketplace here.
marketplace, and then we have the rare Araneta Center. We used to be in Cubao, but notice how faded they are now because we washed them.
And repeatedly repaired.
Yeah. Oh, we should. I bring up the other one.
Because sometimes these wear and tear. So I've taken the liberties of attempting to sew them terribly to the point of functionality.
Oh, where are they? No, there's one. Oh, I think these are only the ones I washed. Were there ones that were not used in the
Yeah.
last grocery? Yeah. And suddenly we're all both not on the show. Hey, how you doing? Is that that's your one with your janky
So
in there?
there. This was
Flip it over.
Yeah. This was sewn back together. So yeah, doesn't look that odd. But then if you look inside, waha! I do not know how to sew. Yeah, that's
It's a Frankenstein bag.
and that's both sides. See? Even this other side has it.
Yeah. But it works.
Mhm.
So so we have a lot of these obviously. A lot of these bags and it helps. I feel better. How many but we've lost some, I feel.
Yeah.
Nabawasan to eh. Yeah, look at that. This is super light. Super it wasn't even green thread. So,
So yeah, I guess that's it. From free taste samples, as we mentioned, me I don't like them. Rocky, you're fine with them.
mhm.
To doing routines.
Well, I used to be. Now they're not
From
keto.
going through it a specific order to get stuff. Yes, Swana, if it works, it works. To returning the carts when we're done. From not eating while in line to um, making lists on what you'll buy. I guess we covered all the possible topics that we can think of as far as grocery shopping is concerned.
We got 9 bags. Okay. Oh, I realized Toby has one more pet peeve. So we have this many reusable bags, right? And then we get to the cashier, he'll put it on the counter, and every time Toby will have to say, use them all. Because I guess I guess it's fair because most people have maybe 2 to 3 reusable bags.
Mhm.
And then what the baggers will try to do is to fit everything into the limited bags that you have, and
Because
they're used to super stuffing them.
and it's it makes sense.
Yeah, because they're trying to.
if you'll
Make the
carry
most.
less bags, then it's easier to carry. But I don't like that in the end
Your
you'll,
food is squished.
you'll have bread that looks like pancakes, and you'll have vegetables that look like they went to a spa, so they can sad salad. So I always tell the bagger, spread out, and they never do.
Literally, Toby's like, gamitin yung lahat yan. Madami yan. Madami yan.
And sometimes they'll small.
Yeah.
Like the most recent one, nakikipagkwentuhan pa yung guy dun sa kahera on the other side.
Mm.
And I was watching, paglagay siya ng lagay, puno na yung bag, and then siniksik pa niya, and then like I went to him, tinanggal ko yung pinasok niya, I placed it in another bag. And ay nako, wala lang, it's just,
Because at the same time, you end up with these super bags that are like hard to carry. Like if all the canned goods are in
Mhm.
one bag, it's crazy. It's
Mhm.
it's very painful to carry. Versus two bags, then you can kind of distribute the weight on your shoulders.
and in my case, since I will be bringing it up alone, Rocky's normally working, so I'll come back from the supermarket alone. I'll balance everything in one go, because I'm also pressed for time.
Yeah.
I guess that's all the time we have for this episode.
We just wanted to wrap up. Why did we get stars again? Uh,
Yeah, so I guess that's all the time we have for this episode. We had a lot of fun, and we hope you'll join us again next time.
if you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, fill up the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. Thanks again to Kenny for suggesting this topic. You can follow us on Twitter, all Tobie No Shade, RG Sunico.
You can also check out our blog, badaypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know what are your grocery tips, tricks, and apparently pet peeves. That's like so much time talking about pet peeves at the grocery. And be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy